Yo, what's up, my friends? So, here I am. I have just returned from a trip to Sequoia National Park, a great adventure into the elven fairylands of the Sequoia redwoods. Actually, they're not redwoods. They might be a brand of shooted tree. I don't know. But I'm coming back into my space here, the Royal Abode shrine. Another shrine, drum stuff, washing machine, piano, shrine, portal, wolf, bed, washing machine. Anyways, I'm here and really just like embracing the tides of a very new wave of life. I woke up very strangely this morning with like some entrepreneurial kick. I woke up. I went to bed like at 3 last night, and then woke up like at 6 a.m. and just shot out of a dream, grabbed my computer, and just started like tearing through a bunch of entrepreneur videos about how to like market and stuff like that, which is kind of funny to me. And it's really cool because it's a very new wave for me. I've been very focused, though I've known of an entrepreneurial side of me for a very long time. I've been super focused on like just creation. The reason being that I've found when I tried to apply the branded entrepreneurial money side of the equation of creation, it blocked me off from my connection to creation. And I struggled, kind of had this internal paradoxical debate of some sort for the past like 4 or 5 years or so, where it's felt like every time that I've tried to, I've always sought to create in a way which gave life to me, which flourished me in this everywhere that I surround, and created a form of community and collaboration, and gave exposure to not just me but like those of my association, and gave life. I feel creation is like a tide, a wellspring, and just like a wellspring of flourishing. So in the past, anytime that I've brought the money side into the equation, I feel like I blocked myself off from creation itself. It's like anytime that I would say or come up with an idea of this is how I want to make a living, or this is what I want to do professionally, I would start practicing the thing, whether that be art or whatever. I've been through a lot of mediums, but when I attached the professional ideation to it, I found that I just ran into walls after walls after walls until I fucking hated the thing that I was creating and doing, and just let it go. And then when I let it go, something else entirely took hold. In letting the professionalism go, I gave myself the freedom to try playing music, try diving into music production, where I know that I'm not going to be monetizing this, at least for a very long time, and it's cool and it's fun, and I'm still going to do it. And I've found for the past like 4 or 5 years of my journey, that's been very life-giving, because it's allowed me to I've given myself the freedom and permission to create in a way which was not bounded by the product of professionalism, of any kind of, like branded conversation. And it gave me freedom to create in a way, to speak in gibberish, and ride the tides of my emotion without having any kind of notion for the product and the outcome being involved, no expectation. And so I was focused and driven and moved just by the state of my own elation. And this is cool. It gave me a lot of freedom to create, and money's continually been this strange thing in life where I've just found ways to make money that were, like right now I'm just doing a bunch of random ish gigs of like landscaping and stuff like that. It's fine, it pays good, but it's work for work's sake. And I feel like I'm entering a new paradigm where I do want to re-engage the space. Actually, not re-engage because I'm not going back to it. I'm entering an entirely new paradigm of it. I'm entering the space of what does it mean when I sit in the room with my agent and my manager, and I, as a creative, as an artist, sit in the room with myself as also the record label, and I look, and we come together collectively and look at this image of the dream that I really do have of I want to create professionally. I don't want to do work for work's sake anymore. I want to free myself um, in the time of work, and I want to work in a way which is giving life to my dreams and aspirations rather than having work be this thing that I just have to do that's pretty unrelated. And when I say unrelated, nothing really is. I find the cool thing about this kind of work that I'm doing now is I do have a lot, whatever I'm doing, I have a lot of free mental space where I can sing and I can think and I can breathe and just be silent, or I can listen to podcasts and music. And so I'm really stoked and grateful for that because I'm very much, I feel everywhere that I have worked, I have treated it as it's part of the craft. When I was working as a barista, just the fluid motion of learning how to be behind bar, when I was looking as a vegan cook, the fluid motion of learning how to be behind bar and prepare a meal with grace and beauty and fluidity, and the fluid motion of choosing to create the meal with very high presence, a vibration of passion and enthusiasm and active dreaming that I would put into the food. Some kind of, gracing into it. Everything that I do, I touch, I say, I speak, I feel is and can be part of the craft. And so in that way, I've everything has been a teacher. Everything that I do is a teacher. That being said, I do seek to engage a new spectrum of life where creation and I form a new relationship where there is professionalism involved. Now, I seek to do this for a myriad of reasons. Fundamentally, I feel having a product in mind does push creation to higher levels. There's something very different about playing guitar with myself and just jamming out and singing on a normal day, and playing guitar with myself when I know that there's a gig coming up of some sort, and that I'm dialing in this level of precision and mastery so that I know where I'm going for this experience. And having the pressure of that performance is coming, it's going to be on this day, and knowing that it's going to be here forces me to give more of myself to the craft, to finish the track. So I like that, and I want that. I want to do whatever it is that expands and deepens my connection to this channel, between me and the dream, and the weaving between it and reality. So it fundamentally deepens the relationship to creation. B, collaboration. I have been very keen in the observation and the witnessing that 1 + 1 = 3. Why? Because when two synergistic creative minds come together and tap into a collective vision, something happens where it's not just me plus you, but there's this new sensation. It's like an overmind when there's synergy, where we are creating something that is beyond your ability and, and my ability. It's beyond both of our abilities combined. There's a new hive mind that happens when we synergize, where we activate higher realms than either of us could individually, um, and new realms for both of us creatively. And I really love that. And I feel also that there's something really important in the creative process, in the process of learning and mastering any craft. There's something essential about the inspiration, the learning, the doing, and then the respiration of bringing that thing that has come from me out into the world to be seen, to be witnessed, um, to be felt by others, so that conversation can be alive. And I feel like creators are here to um, be a navigation stream for the collective, right? It's that song that hits us right at the perfect time, right when we go through the breakup, when we're immensely and oceanically in love and wondering if anyone has ever felt this before and what to do with all of this emotion. Then creation is not just or family member dies, something horrific happens, and we have no idea what to do. Then creation isn't just like a luxury; it's essential, right? It allows us to navigate with this emotion and direct it in a way which is um, life-giving to us. My cousin had a pretty dark childhood, and there was a point where he was he was about to kill himself. He was suicidal, and he had essentially rigged a trap for himself to die in. And right before he was about to pull the trigger of this trap, he heard this song by a band that was reached out from the abyss and just spoke to exactly where he was and is at that time, and gave him a reason to live, because he felt that another human being had been there, and instead of killing themselves, created the music, and so created a guiding stream into a new way, into a new level of being alive and becoming alive. And since he's just made an incredible leaps and bounds, and I'm so inspired and proud of who he is, that journey, and I feel that's such a testament to the importance of sharing the art, because when we connect with the truth of our own story, of our own journey, we are human, and there's a collective psyche, and there's somebody else in the world that needs to hear that and feel that, and know that there is a way through. And when someone can demonstrate the way through, we can walk that course. When someone can demonstrate a way through, we can have, it's like the collective psyche can have almost like a shortcut, a loophole through this time, and on the other side, with those tools, then carved and crafted and explore new pathways within the collective psyche for others to go through as well. It's like standing on the shoulders of giants and being able, because one person was able to go here where nobody else went. Now that place is mapped out in the collective psyche. It's been explored. Others can go there, and from there, from that exploration, which was a huge effort of bushwhacking through dense jungle canopies with a machete, now that there's a path, somebody can go there and get to a place that the first explorer was never able to reach with a machete, or even better, laser or teleportation. because they arrived to an ancient city which just happened to be in a future civilization. And now they have teleportation. Yep. So, all that being said, I recognize that it is essential now to speak in a way which can be shared, which the craft, the journey, the experience of self and psyche can be brought to the floor. So given all of this, some time ago I recognized that I made a decision to let go of branding, to let go of professionalism so that I could explore creation and the composition of my own psycho-emotional space authentically. I let go of the necessity for there to be eyes, for there to be any witnessing, and I just gave myself the incubation chamber to do it alone. And I think I, alongside others throughout time, and especially our generation of social media, and there's this often tendency to judge what comes out of us based upon how it's received by others, based upon the likes in the comments and whatever. And I definitely felt that many years ago when I was sharing to social media the journey. I felt myself tailoring what I'd say to do what I knew would be liked. And when I saw what I was doing, I let it go, and I went off grid. And that was essential. It was the best thing that I could have done for me at that time. And it allowed me to really go into waters that would have been impossible for me to see if I were under the scrutiny of another's eye. For me, at that time. And I've been swimming in these waters now for a very long time, and they're, in my eye, the most beautiful thing that I've never seen. And so deeply, I want to share it. I feel I've connected to something that's divine, and I want to let go of myself to a degree where I'm a hollow bone and it may speak through without any of the conditionings of my mind clinging to what I think it should be. I want to continue opening myself to be a vessel and a hollow bone, while simultaneously guiding myself, listening to the guide of it, so that I can do so and facilitate a space for me to create in a continually deeper way. And I can facilitate a space where I'm creating in a continually deeper way, authentically, that is also being shared. And there was a time where that was paradox of impossibility, and I don't feel that is the case anymore. Because for the first time in my life, I have given birth to a space which is a host of essentially a self-portrait, a collection of self-portraits, all shattered reflections of my psyche, created from this very authentic space, without any eyes, assembled together to create a tone, a song, a symphony, a presence where I am and I live unfiltered, and prisoned, meaning, throughout the journey of creation, it's essential for me, and I feel for all of us, to give ourselves permission to make shitty art. I feel shitty art is the most important art to make, because it's the art that could not have been made, right? It's the 0 to 1 is the biggest step. It's that first journey. It's the release of self to explore the space that is unknown. For me, it came in the form of dance. There's a very tangible point in my life before I came online where I was at a music festival. I realized that, and I was kind of grooving to the music, but I realized that there was something inside of me that wanted to move, but wasn't being allowed to move, that I didn't allow to move because I was looking at the people around me, and part of me was thinking, well, if I moved like this, they wouldn't, like, what would they think if they saw me move like this? And I realized that I wasn't moving. I wasn't letting this thing, whatever it was, this part of me through, because I was afraid of how others would perceive me to be if they saw me move as it wanted to move through me. And I felt this part of me, like a knot inside of my chest. And I physically held it in my hand, and I looked at it with like such, like, just so clearly it was wrong, right? So clearly I was not doing me because I was afraid of what that would mean. And the moment that I saw it, I was like, fuck that. And then I just exploded it. I watched it all explode in front of me. I let go of the walls, the fear, and all of a sudden that thing that wanted to move, that I'd never let me move through before, came like an ocean, erupting through a dam that had been there like almost my whole life. And I just exploded. There's no rhythm to my motion whatsoever. It was just full permission for the first time for me to allow myself to be engulfed by the absurdity, to embrace the weirdness within myself that I had never even seen, and allow it to just pour through me with no inhibitions or care for what it looked like and how it would be perceived. And it was glorious. It was the most freeing thing I'd ever felt in my life. It was freedom. And from that time, like, it was essential for me to let go of how I thought I should move, what I thought was acceptable to move, how I thought it was acceptable for me to move. I had to let go of that entirely so that I could fucking move. And, the fears of what would these people think if they saw me move like this were totally made up in my head. Because what happened when other people saw me move like this is they got fucking weird too. And it was just this, like, slowly and steady throughout this whole music festival. Coachella, strangely enough, right? Which is kind of one of the last music festivals that this should happen. Other people got whack as well. And there's something just absolutely glorious about, like, being in a space where everyone felt free together. So, I gave myself permission to make shitty art. And I've made a lot of shitty art. And amidst the shitty art, there's been some cool stuff that's also come through. And I've created a website that contains a lot of the cool stuff, which is enveloped in this, like, ocean of mythology and stories and multimedia, like, streams of conversation, just like me. It's still rugged and it's still, like, rough in a way. But it's a true expression. And thus, I see it as highly valuable and something really important to share with other people. And I see it very much as a shrine of my own creation. I feel it as this accumulation of self over time, this this path and this journey of devotion to discovery and exploration of new lands in this obscene psyche and experience of consciousness that is life. And I see it as an alchemization, a crystallization of the chaos, a calling of form through the abstraction. The site for me is a space where the dream lives alive, where I can see myself, I can see progression, I can see just the beauty that lives inside of me. And it's something that feels so true to me. And because it is true, I feel it's scripture, and I want to share it, and I want to give others the opportunity to see it, because it is beautiful. Strangely enough, I just went through this 100-day journey of creating what I call the self-portrait every day, where every day I would have I would output one thing, whether it be a song, a dance, a video, a writing. One thing I would upload to the site, and I just created this long feed of everyday arrivals. And I would also curate. Some days the arrival would be a curation of something that I'd done in times before. And over the course of these 100 days and a few days that came before when I initially opened the site, I created this an accumulation of shit. And amidst the shit, there was some cool stuff. I selected the cool stuff, pulled it aside, and within the cool stuff, there's a journey. There's a story. There was really quite a form of recounting, like a true articulation, a journey of life that I've lived and have been living, and where I've come from, and where I am. And in no way is it complete, but the core pieces are all there. And so I've been super stoked on it and elated. And when I finally curated it, I was like, fuck yeah, dude! 100-day journey's over, and we've arrived. We're here. This thing's alive, and it's a true reflection. And I was stoked on it. Strangely enough, I sent it to a select few of my friends, some of my best friends, and pretty much across the board, I got total radio silence. No response. And it was interesting to me because at first there was this uncomfortable sensation about it. And then I realized, look, dude, when you go inside, I recognize that my journey has been really fucking intense getting to where I am. And I created a space in which, the journey's been intense to bushwhack through the forest that I've gone through in this collective psyche, in the psycho-emotional realms of me, of the I am, EYE. And I created a space that articulated the journey of that exploration. In that space, the way I had it arranged, it was the first page was dropped into the heart of just some whack shit intensity that seemed super, super unstable, which part of this journey has been psychotic and schizophrenic chapters, in which I had opened doors in my psyche that I did not know how, that were really incredible from a curious, imaginative point of view, but I didn't know how to close the doors or interact with the doors. So when I opened them, shit just started flooding me, like flooding in, and I totally disassociated from this reality for a period of time. And then I learned how to interact with the doorways, and rather than them just, imagination just spilling into my world and not knowing which one was real or what was going on really, um, I was able to kind of dance with the tide rather than it just flooding me and drowning me. And I feel I'm at a place now where I am actively dancing with the tide and am very much here, present, and able to have this conversation with you. And I realized that, there's a lot of people in this world who I do feel would would benefit a lot by getting to see that journey. Because there's a lot of people who are in the heart of some really obscene spaces, and some people who I know resonate with some of the psychological phenomena that I've experienced in my journey, and I was able to make it through those spaces because I'd met people who were shamans and who knew how to interact with what we as a collective, or as a modern, which is humorous, time call schizophrenia, and other more tribal ancient societies, and people with deeper wisdom that can see it as a gift. We see so many abilities now as disorders and things that are diseases that need to be medicated, when really it's just about learning how to harness the tide of who and what we are. And sure, some people that calls for different forms of medicine, but not all medicine is, like pills, which there was a time where they wanted to put me on, and I was like, fuck that. Some people works for them, who knows? But other medicine is meditation, eating good, exercising, sleeping, creating. And I feel there are absolutely people out there who would benefit undoubtedly from getting to see this journey of learning how to learning what I went through to harness the tide, and where I am harnessing the tide, and what that means to me. And I realize that it's something really beautiful in itself, and that's just true to me. It just rings true. So when I send it to my friends and I get radio silence, that doesn't take away the fact that I know that it's beautiful. And if they don't see it, or they don't know how to interact with it, that's okay. I recognize in the first rendition of the site, I threw them into kind of the heart of just like the what the fuck. And because that's where, a lot of this cool shit started for me. So for some people, I guess what I'd like to do is create an invitation for people to come and see the space. And I feel the internal psyche and the tide that I'm interacting with speaks to and through me as a language. And I am here as the translator, the facilitator of this language coming to Earth. And it's not up to me to judge what it says, it speaks. And I'm here to translate it. And it's okay if a lot of what it speaks, I'm still learning how to translate into English. So when I got the radio silence across the board from people that, I thought would at least give some feedback or say something, it was just like an acknowledgement that, it's not in English yet, and that's totally cool. Because it will be. Like, I'm going to create this as a space which is an invitation for people, not just the psychos, but psychos included, um, but for people, for a modern culture, for this time of human to come and see and speak to and learn or just feel something beautiful or terrible. Like, just for me, the site is my experience of coming alive, coming online, coming into self. And I feel that anytime somebody creates something which is their journey of doing that, it is a catalyst for others, an invitation for others to do so as well. And I seek to create a space which is an invitation and an evocation of the human race, of Gaia as it moves through us, as the multidimensional landscape that we are inhabiting, breathing, being as consciousness. I seek to create a space of the becoming, the coming alive, a space that evokes and calls forth passion in those who see it, that gives life to dream and recognize and inspires our inherent ability as gods to weave dream into being, to dance with the seam of our channel. And I know that everything that I'm doing now is doing just that. And my journey is learning how to do it and speak it in a way which is invitational and receptive, that both listens and speaks, a space of inspiration and respiration, communication, a dialogue. So what I've come to learn about, I guess that's kind of where I've been and where I feel I am now, is I do, after that first wave of inviting it to friends and then recognizing that I was really dropping them into a pretty absurd space without any context, I kind of rearranged the site so I dropped them into a more intriguing space that kind of had its own context, that wasn't just like, oh god, but more like, interesting, what is this? And then for those who are interested, there's a way to go and see the what the fuck that came before. Open the door, see heaven dwells doors, the unfolding floors of me as I weave through the sea of multidimensionality, where Satan's hands are holding the heavens as we make love, in the unholy heartbeat of Satan. Sweet, sweet love. Mamacita, don't you want to take a look at me and eat a little taste of my pizza? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anywho, where I do feel that I am in now is a time, you see, a time where the site is alive. There is a space which I feel holds a fundamental tone of my form of creation. It's multimedia. It's got music that is just true. It's got art that's true. These conversations are on there. It's got all the different nodes of me, and I guess what the website's really done is it's allowed me to really have a space to see myself and to recognize like what it feels like to create in a way which resonates, and to learn what good creation is. Not that that's necessarily that I even care for that phrase, but when I say good creation, I mean like just coming from a true space. I feel like I know what that means for me now. And this space is a space that's founded in that truth, rather than me trying to create something for that I think somebody else is going to like, or that I think will get me somewhere. This space is me. And from that foundation, I seek to continue developing it and creating it and sharing it as an invitation. And I feel it's beautiful right now. I think it's really quite an experience, and it's only going to become more so. And now that I'm here, that I've been in my incubation chamber, I feel the baby inside is developed and ready to hatch. The dragon is to be released from its egg. And now I'm interested in creating and continuing to develop this space in a way which is invitational, which is conversational, which is being casted out as fish into the ocean of our everything. And so I think this would be really beautiful to begin creating now, in a way which can be with people, can be with my friends. I want to create with my friends, and I want to be in the breakdancing cipher. I want to be in a circle, and I want to be in a dance battle with you, with you, with you. I want to dance with you. I've learned what it means to dance with me, and I would like to move with you now, and I would like to move with you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I want to share this shit as it comes through. I don't. The way that I see this is the coolest way to create is not writing one giant book, one epic saga, waiting till it's done and then sharing it with the world, but rather writing the epic saga with the world and sharing it scene by scene as it comes through. Goodness gracious me, oh my. You are the apple of my eye. So you see, my friends, we are in a new paradigm now. Because now, the question is no longer, what is it that I seek to create? What is it that I will do? What is it that will be finally my work? The question is, here's the thing. Also, I used to struggle a lot with wanting to develop skills in a craft, in a practice that would bring me into a degree of professional, bring the skills up to that degree. And every time that I said this is the thing that I'm going to do for a living, once I started doing that thing, I began hating that thing, because it was almost like I drew myself a box and I said, this is what I am. And then I forced myself to be in that box for a while until I began to hate the box because it was so constraining. And I would do it until I really fucking hated it, and then I realized that I didn't even want. I realized that I hated it, that I didn't want to create from this lens, and I let go of the box, and then something else totally reassimilated inside of me. And I said this earlier, but it's still relevant to say again, apparently. Says they. Yeah, and every time I did this, I kind of put unnecessary constraints upon me with good intention. I created a lot of pressure of me feeling suffocated by the space, feeling the cage get smaller the more times I hit myself upon the wall, and then finally exploding, letting it go and releasing the wall entirely, and embracing the sweet celebration and elation of divine masturbation of freedom. And so what I realize now that my mistake was, I say mistake, I don't really believe in them, but my mistake was the, where did I put you? Where did I put you? Oh, yes. The reason for the sensation of misfortune was that I tried to identify the thing that I was doing by the thing itself. And now I realize that it's not about the thing that I'm doing, but where it's going. The thing, the craft, shifted from being one medium to a space, which is a synthesis of mediums. A space which gives me the freedom to embrace all facets of conversation and communication that are just so naturally called through my being that I feel free to do anything, and I can do anything inside of it. And, at the same time, that's difficult. That creates a new paradigm of difficulty, because there's the creating spaces and collapsing infinity is really great to essentially cut through choice paralysis. Dealing with infinities a lot. So it's like I used to have this sensation of, I can do anything, look around everywhere and say, what do I want to do? Well, everything. So what do I do? Nothing. And that was a part of the journey. What I realized is cool about the space, and essentially like the same idea with like, what do I write when I can write anything? Nothing. I just, the archetype of the writer in writer's block, who just stares at the blank screen, not writing anything, because it's like, what do I do? And there's that intimidation of looking at the blank canvas. My solution is just to start doing something, just start pushing buttons, hitting words, throwing sound upon the canvas of the digital audio workstation, and just throwing shit out there until you catch flow. But it's just get momentum, move, and then figure out where we're going, and then discover the act of going and sink into the sensation of the motion rather than the notion of the destination. All that being said, I do feel it's important to collapse infinity, and when the focus is the space, and the space can be anything, it's kind of difficult to work with everything when we're in a temporal experience. So my solution is to craft containers of time, meaning I'm going to go on this adventure, this journey. I'm going to go here to Zion or to Sequoia National Park or to Burning Man, whatever it is, and I'm going to create a scene which contains the experience, the alchemical code of that experience. Everywhere that I go, it's like I'm an author and an artist collecting field notes. And then when I come back from that adventure, and also when I'm on the adventure, I'm synthesizing those field notes. All these different scrappy elements of shit are compiling, I'm weaving together to create a ship. Whoa. Yeah, so the key for me now is to create the sight in scene. Creating containers of time in which I go and do different experiences or explorations, different arrivals, and then I alchemize those experiences by creating something through and with them. The beauty of the 100-day journey was it was just every day was an arrival. every day I did something, and it didn't matter what the something was. It was just kind of the first thing that came to mind. And after a bunch of days of doing something alchemized. It grew into a higher octave. I kept on watering the plant until the plant sprouted, and the plant grew and kept growing until it flowered. And then a psychedelic alien just erupted from the little penis things that stick out of flowers. So yeah, creating those temporal containers is really great for me. And I feel now the key for me is to open this door and allow this conversation as it unfolds and comes through to be seen, to be shared, to be spoken in a way which is spoken with and to others. I've got a big bag of fish, and now I seek to continue fishing, but like giving people fish, rather than just keeping them in my boat or my site. I'd like to share the space. And that brings me to the OG experience of this conversation, which is the waking up and thinking of marketing. Strange. I've always known that there's an entrepreneurial side of me. I set him aside for a long time so I could dive into the creative divine, and now I feel him coming back online. And perhaps coming online for the first time, in this body, at least. And so I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. It's now the question is not just the what I'm creating, but like, what does it mean to share this stuff? And that's really kind of why I came to this conversation today, is what does it mean to share this stuff? You know? It's kind of cool because I really don't know. I know I've got a lot of shit, and I find it really dope. I'm sure other people will. So what does it mean to... So what does it mean to now open the dialogue? So, the way I'm approaching this, my initial inclinations and experience has been with social media as, like a very clear route where there's a lot of people, and it's a great way to share a story in a space where people inherently are. So that's one avenue, is social media. Another avenue is collaborations, just like really creating an emphasis upon that which I'm creating with others, and bringing other people into the space and like allowing that to be alive within the community of people around me, right? Not just the broad expanse of infinity in the world, but like share it with the people that are here around me and with me, and share it in a way that's invitational to people who are tangibly in my life. And where I feel myself going now is essentially, which is so funny that I feel this now, but I want to make some form of like a marketing plan for me of like, what does it mean to, now that I've created the music, I want to release the music, and what does it mean to release it in a way which I'm not just throwing, the cat in dead water, but I can do it in a space where the sharks are, and they can lunge out of the water with great gaping mouths and pearly white teeth and just behead that fucking kitty cat. Sweet little pussy. Yes. Bitch! I want to put the kitty cat in a place where it can fish. So yeah, this is beginning phases for me now, which is cool that we're having this conversation because I don't really know what it means, but what it definitely means is that I'm going to do some research. I know that there's a game that that there's a game of exposure. The fundamental game, or the foundation is to create a space that's dope. You know, like the first step in sharing the music is to create music that is dope. The second step in sharing the music is like, okay, what do we do with the music now that we have some form of album? How do we cast it out? And I feel that is calling forth a new part of me, which is a part of me that is called to research. Um, I feel since the site is on multiple streams, it takes form in different mediums. Um, I'm looking for as I continue. I'm going to be continually dialing in what the site is, how people land, move, and arrive into the space and fall into the space. And as I dial in what it is, I'm going to be sharing it in spaces where people are and creating awareness of it. I'm going to be creating a social media presence. And I feel most intuitively like Instagram is probably the way to go. A, because on one account I do have a following, and I don't feel quite ready yet to post it on that following, but I'm going to open up I have a new Instagram account opened up called I Am You Are Me. I with an EYE. And that is going to be, I feel, the space where I already know the conversation, but I feel like the social media flow of it is another layer. And so I feel like I'm going to be creating a bank of imagery, visual, and writings, creating a bank so it's easily accessible for me to post regularly, because fundamentally the way that this grows and the way that creates traction and gets passed around and seen is to create consistency within the production, and do so in a place which fucks with it. Yeah, dude, we're gonna fuck with it. Because I also think that there's like, if I were to go online and research Instagram hacks right now, or just like how to grow an Instagram account from 0 to 100, whatever it is, put an exit destination, there's going to be a lot of things that come up. And these are going to be tried and true, proven forms of doing the thing. And those are all going to be helpful. And I'm going to create some form of guide for myself that dials in like tried and true methods and applies them intelligently. And secondly, I'm going to fuck shit up and just explore some weirdness. And that's always where the magic lives, is to do things that are both smart and experimental. And so I feel like for me now, the encode, the log, is about just gaining momentum in a new realm that's social. Let's just say Instagram, because that's easy, and to do it in a way which is consistent and with increasing intelligence and experimentation. So yeah, that's where I am. Marketing, baby. Here we go. Yeah. So I'm stoked. If you want to see the site is called ahzira.com, ahzira.com. And yeah, you can take it from there. Dude, thank you for sitting down and chatting with me. It's been real, and I love connecting. And it's great that we can connect like this because it's beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Honey, honey bun, honey munchkins. Oh yeah, how look at you, oh yeah, hanging up and way I got that.